In this video, we're going to talk about armyworms, and I don't want to do so in some kind of scare tactic. I would prefer to talk to you about the actual facts, what we know, what to do about armyworms. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? So let's get started with that right now. Today's video is sponsored by Graham Spray Equipment. You can see my Graham spray rig in the background. I have a 400-gallon split tank on the back of my F350. Served me well for years. If you need a spray rig for your business, go to grahamsc.com or give those guys a call. Some of you probably never seen an armyworm in your entire life. Others might have seen thousands of them in the past week, like me. You know, maybe not thousands, but maybe thousands. Armyworms are one of those things, and let me say this, I live in Alabama. Some years we go through the whole year, we don't see a single armyworm. You hear them called fall armyworms. Other years, they're just a big problem for lawn care. And I think it was maybe 2 years ago, it was like the generational season for armyworms, just unbelievable amount of armyworms. And they came a little bit earlier that year, seems like maybe in July, and then we got like a second wave of them that came later, maybe in August or so, or maybe September. I don't remember. This year they hit my area near Birmingham, Alabama. I'm gonna say late July is when maybe we first started hearing signs of them, or could have been early August. But that's one advantage, is I started hearing reports of them further south, and they're moving north. So you kind of know they're coming before they get here. So let's talk about armyworms. Fortunately and unfortunately, I don't have armyworms on my lawn anymore. I did recently, so I can't actually show you one, but I want to stop right now and I want to insert a picture of an armyworm so that you can see what an armyworm looks like. So take a look at this. One thing to note by that is understand that not all caterpillars are armyworms, okay? So if you got one little caterpillar that's just crawling around on your driveway, that doesn't mean you have armyworms. A lot of times we have armyworms. Sometimes there can be not that many, but often, especially when it's a problem, there will be hundreds if not thousands of them on the lawn, and sometimes it can actually make your lawn look like it's moving because there's so many caterpillars eating the grass. Sometimes armyworms have kind of a brownish tint to them. Other ones look a little bit more green. I'm not sure if the green ones are the young ones and they get more brown as they get older. Just understand, they could have a greenish tint, could have a brownish tint. Here's what I tell my customers about armyworms. I send out an email and just trying to educate them, let them make decisions. Hey, listen, the armyworms, they typically, for us with warm season grasses, you got Bermuda, zoysia, centipede, St. Augustine. They typically prefer the Bermuda grass, I would say by far, over those other flavors. Occasionally you'll see them on the zoysia grass. Now we don't have a lot of zoysia, and typically I see them eating the Bermuda over the zoysia. Maybe in an area where there's all zoysia, they'll eat the zoysia. But I think if they had an option of Bermuda or zoysia, they would typically choose the Bermuda. They don't eat the centipede at all, and I've seen that where they'll have a Bermuda yard with a patch of centipede in the middle, and they will clearly eat around the centipede. They just don't like the way it tastes. I'm not 100% sure on St. Augustine. I'd like somebody in the comments to let me know, do the armyworms eat St. Augustine grass or not, because I'm not sure. Now the thing about armyworms is, I tell people when I see them eating the Bermuda grass, I'm like, you know, I don't think they kill your grass. I feel very confident they don't kill your grass, but I don't want to just guarantee that for somebody. But they will turn it brown, and they can turn it brown pretty quickly, especially if there's a lot of them. So what I tell people is, listen, it's really up to you, the customer. If you want me to come spray it, I'm happy to come spray it. If you don't want to spray it, they're going to eat your grass, they're going to turn it brown, it's not going to die, it will grow back, and that's clearly up to you. So it's not like necessarily some kind of big risk that you're going to lose your lawn, but you will lose the green color of the lawn. Oftentimes by the time they get here and they fall and they eat your lawn, it's kind of getting later in the season. So when it's green and they eat it and they turn it brown, it may not ever turn green again that year, because we're sort of moving into fall by the time they get here. So just understand that. For some people, they say, hey, free lawn mowing, I'm tired of mowing my grass anyway. They'll do it for me, and just let them do it. Other people say, no, I want to kill them, and I want to keep my grass green for a little while longer. I don't want the armyworms eating it. I said, that's totally fine as well. In my opinion, if you've got armyworms and you catch them early and you want to keep it green, take action sooner than later. Go ahead and kill the armyworms. Once they've already eaten your grass and it's basically totally brown, at that point, I'm not sure it makes a whole lot of sense to spray them. You can if you want to. But I mean, they basically already done the damage. So at that point, I'm like, what's the point? Because if the point was to save the green color in your lawn, you're a little bit too late to do that. Now, here's a couple of products that I've been using, and let me say this as a side note. I have a lot of friends in the weed control and fertilization business, and we're able to share information. And some of you seen my friend James on the videos before, and he teaches me a lot of things about lawn care. But it's helpful to have a group of people that do the same thing so that you can share information. You know, I said I was getting reports about armyworms before I had them in my area because they're moving up from the south. And hearing reports south of me let me know that, hey, they're probably coming my way soon. And the way it typically works is the armyworm moth, whatever you call it, I'm sure it's not the armyworm moth, but it flies around, lays the eggs hatch, there's your armyworms, and they, as caterpillars, and they eat your grass. All right, so as far as products to use to control armyworms, here's a couple of options, and these are going to be commonly used products. So over here we've got Talstar, and this is the active ingredient. May not be able to read it on there, but it's called bifentrin, and you can get a generic form of bifentrin. And the Talstar, you know, if I was mixing it up in like a little 2-gallon sprayer or a backpack sprayer, then the high rate for armyworms, I believe, is 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet, per 1,000 square feet. So typically equate that to a gallon of water. So in a 2-gallon sprayer, I'd put 2 ounces in there and spray the lawn. I guess, you know, technically you could just spray the areas where the armyworms are. Now, for this product, this bifentrin, it's going to work very, very quickly on controlling the armyworms, but it doesn't necessarily give you a whole lot of residual control. You know, it's not going to hang around too long, maybe a week or two. So like if you spray it and armyworms came through in the next week, you know, hopefully it would kill them then, but it's not going to last for months. Now I'm actually reading right here on the label, it says provides up to 1 month residual control of houseflies, kills fleas for up to 3 months. It seems to have more of a residual control on some other insects, but for armyworms, the way I've been told is you maybe get a week or two of residual effect if you spray them, and you know, how long is it going to last? How long am I going to be protected, basically? Now, let's say I was using a Z-spray, or this is the back slope machine I've got now. I've been riding around a lot. For this machine, 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet is roughly 43 ounces per acre. So I'm going to have it calibrate. I'm going to put 43 ounces per acre in this machine. As you're spraying with Talstar, you can basically see the armyworms falling off the plant as you spray. I don't know if it'll think it's working that fast. I just don't think they like to get sprayed with it, but they will die very quickly with that type of application. Again, give you maybe a week or two protection. Oftentimes that's all you need. You killed them, that was it. The threat's over for this year. But again, like I said, a couple of years ago when they were so bad, there was a second wave that came through, and I did have some properties where I went through and sprayed them, the lawn greened back up, and then they came through and ate it again, have to go back and spray them again. Now with the Acelepryn, this is Acelepryn Extra. With the Acelepryn products, my understanding of it is that the Acelepryn is not going to work as fast. It may take several days for the armyworms to die, but it will make them stop eating the grass when you apply it. And the difference here is that it's going to give you months of protection. So depending on the rate you apply it out, it's going to give you more protection. So I've been putting it out at 8 ounces per acre, and that's supposedly going to give me like 3 months of protection. If you did a lesser rate, the rate will say for armyworms on there 4 to 20 ounces per acre. So, you know, at 8, I'm getting 3 months protection. If you went higher, you get longer protection. Went lower, you get a shorter length of protection, but should still control any existing armyworms. Now, some people might take these two products and combine them. Now, per application, this is going to be a less expensive product than this is going to be a product. Faster kill over here, longer protection over here. You can use just this product. It's going to give you the protection and going to kill them, just not as fast. This one's going to kill them faster, but not as long a protection. For me, I've been doing one or the other. If I have existing armyworms on the property, oftentimes I'm going with bifentrin. If there's not armyworms, but the customer wants to be protected from getting armyworms, then I'll use Acelepryn, because I'm thinking if I spray that, from what I understand, then the armyworms come through, they should not be touching that lawn. They're gonna eat the neighbor's lawn instead. So these are the facts, and this is the way that I explain it to the customer. I don't wanna try to upsell them necessarily on something they don't need. I just say, hey, listen, armyworms are in the area. Most of the time the customers have already heard about it. It's on the Facebook groups, it's on the news, things like that. So when I tell them, some customers are very appreciative that I gave them the opportunity to protect their lawns before they get hit, and I go out there, spray with the Acelepryn. Other customers, they already have it in the lawn and they want them controlled, and I can go spray the bifentrin. Again, you could use one of those products, both those products. They both are going to have a similar result as far as controlling the problem, but doing it in a different way, as we already discussed. I guess it's just a pet peeve of mine. One time I had some experience with people in the termite industry, and I felt like it was such a scare tactic to get you to sign up for something, and I didn't appreciate that. So I'm hoping this video is not that. It's more factual videos so that you can understand the facts and know what decision you want to make. Do you want to let the armyworms eat your lawn? That's fine. It shouldn't kill it, it should grow back, but it's going to look ugly. Do you want to control them with bifentrin? Go ahead. You want to use the Acelepryn? That's fine too. So these are 3 options you can use for your lawn. These 2 products are just let them eat away. Either way, in the long run, your lawn should be fine, even though it's going to be ugly if they do eat your lawn. Thanks for watching the video. If you haven't done so, please subscribe. Also wanted to mention the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. It's over at lawncarelife.com. There's also information about the Lawn Care Life Conference. People have been signing up for that. All that's over at lawncarelife.com, or hang out here and watch some more videos. We'll see you guys in the next one.